60 Days In is an American reality documentary series that finds its idea of entertainment in a curious premise. In short, this series invites volunteers onto the show to participate in a documentation of an outrageous social experiment. Contestants who appear in the show are sent to prison under fake charges and an accompanying alias with a full backstory, where they spend 60 days tasked with uncovering any bad behavior among inmates and wardens alike. Naturally, a show with such an entertaining but obviously potentially dangerous premise would draw out questions from its audience, which the show was in ample supply. The series is already heading into its 8th season, with plenty of volunteers willing to participate. Known internationally as The Jail 60 Days In, the documentary series airs in 100 countries, and thanks to popular reception, there seems to be no telling how far the producers, Lucky 8, are willing to continue with this social experiment. Among the more concerning questions viewers raised across social media was in regards to the participants' safety, how real the documentary actually is, as well as inquiring about participants' compensation. Considering how many people are willing to participate, the show must have adequate bait, but it seems that there are untold truths that Lucky 8 would hope to keep quiet. Unfortunately, the death of a former contestant, Nate Burrel, brought viewers' concerns into a more serious light. And as it would be, uncovering the truth behind 60 Days In reveals realities about the series that some viewers might find heartbreaking, even distressing. Though still an intriguing concept, all is not quite as the camera portrays. Searching for the truth surrounding the details of Nate Burrell's death, we discuss in short the general premise and circumstance of 60 Days In, before introducing Nate as a former contestant, revisiting his part in the series. Following this, we dive deeper into the real colors of 60 Days In, considering the accounts of former contestants and production crew members and the secrets they reveal. The discussion will dwell in part on the participants' compensation, as well as the truthful setting of the show. Then, we conclude by discussing the details surrounding Nate Burrell's death, uncovering as much as possible about the situation he faced shortly before he passed away, and include mention of the emotional last words he posted on Facebook. The first season of 60 Days In premiered in March 2016, with filming taking place in the Clark County Jail located in Jeffersonville, Indiana. As per the usual premise of each season, 7 volunteers secretly infiltrated Clark County Jail following fake incarceration, and were sent to attempt to survive 3 months along the inmates. Of course, each participant is carefully evaluated and prepared prior to appearing in the show, due to the obvious dangers they might encounter while inside. Before their admittance into the correctional facility, participants are taught how to act and are thoroughly informed about the details surrounding their false identity, backstory, and the fake criminal charges behind their incarceration. Aside from already having to face the difficulties of confinement, isolation, and adjusting to the prison lifestyle, participants are each given an individual task that may range from observing inmates, who they already have to contend with, to spying on the prison staff. According to the premise of the series, participants need to find evidence of any criminal or corrupt behavior while maintaining their undercover profile. To make things especially difficult and practical for the suggested purpose of the series, neither the inmates nor the prison staff are informed about the true nature of the documentary, thus requiring the volunteers to maintain their secret identity from everyone. Since the first season aired, the series has experienced widespread popularity, and with the series airing in many countries, it seems clear that the production company, Lucky 8, dove into a goldmine, as neither viewers nor volunteers seem to be in short supply. However, because it would be difficult for the participants to keep their identity a secret for longer than required, the filming of later seasons moved to different facilities. The 3rd and 4th seasons were filmed in Fulton County Jail, Atlanta, and the 5th season in the Pinal County Jail, Florence, Arizona. In 2019, the series was renewed for a 6th season, and because the show is popularly received by its audience, a 7th season premiered in 2022. The series' 8th season premiered in June 2023 and promises to keep viewers as entertained as before. The popular reception enjoyed by 60 Days In also led to the creation of a spin-off series called 60 Days In Narcoland, the title explaining the tangent. Certainly, regular viewers would have seen many faces come and go on 60 Days In, as with each new season, the participants are replaced by new volunteers. While some quit early and others endured the full 3 months, some actually decide to stay longer, even completing a second sentencing. One such contestant was Nate Burrel, who appeared in 2 seasons of 60 Days In. Nate formerly served in the U.S. Marine Corps from 2006 until his honorable discharge in 2013. Sadly, Nate passed away at his own hands in 2020, 2 years after competing in seasons 3 and 4 of 60 Days In. When Nate entered the social experiment of 60 Days In, he was a proud veteran, with 2 combat tours in Iraq to his credit, before serving 3 years as a reserve, hoping to join law enforcement following his retirement from the military. Subsequently, Nate studied criminal justice and law enforcement, earning his associate's degree in 2014, and worked as a fish and wildlife officer. During his first appearance in the 3rd season of 60 Days In 2017, Nate, an eager participant, successfully completed the experiment, establishing a strong and trusted friendship with the inmates, so much so that he decided to stay for another 3 months. Nate served in Fulton County Jail and returned to the same facility for the 4th season of the documentary. Considering the danger of the show's premise, one might question 60 Days In, specifically about how they screen for suitable volunteers, and if it's the money that draws so many willing participants. No doubt, the series is entertaining and has given an insight into life behind bars in the US, but some viewers suspect the truthfulness of what the cameras present. Undoubtedly, Lucky 8 would take as many precautions during filming as possible, including vigorously screening volunteers. However, applications are open to anybody. As such, according to the executive producer Gregory Hans, there's never a shortage of willing participants, and at times they interview up to 300 people a day. Not everybody makes it onto the show, as they have to pass medical and background checks, despite the casual invitation presented to hopeful applicants. A standard casting call invites volunteers willing to experience a once-in-a-lifetime participation in a social experiment. Candidates are required to email a brief essay on why they can survive any situation, along with personal details and insights into their personal backgrounds. From there, candidates are filtered and hopefuls are sent a questionnaire, followed by an online interview. Once they pass this, they have to complete a full medical examination. Whether it's worth participating in 60 Days In and passing the rigorous examinations remains the question among viewers. Participants do earn compensation, but according to a former producer who chose to remain anonymous during a frank discussion on Reddit, the host network, A&E, is not very inclusive. He suggested that volunteers can earn at most $3,000 per episode, and personally considers that the compensation isn't worth the risk. However, it was leaked that the biggest moneymaker of 60 Days In are the facilities chosen as the documentary's setting. Clark County Jail made up to $500 a day over the course of the 60 days, which of course the Clark County Sheriff's Department insists is put to use for buying new equipment and training. Whether one might consider it worth it or not, the authenticity of the show remains in question, and according to a former contestant, Rob Holcomb, who appeared in the 1st season, the editing is not quite truthful. According to Holcomb, editing exaggerates the danger volunteers face, and admitted that the inmates uncovered his identity on his first day inside. As Rob stated, they treated him like gold, and he considers the inmates of Clark County Jail to be some of the nicest people he ever met. Holcomb suggested, however, that the show portrayed the inmates as animals, and insinuated that they wished him harm, when in all honesty, Rob got along with them just fine. Holcomb also said that most members of Clark County Jail are just kind people with drug-related problems, not hardened criminals. According to Alan Oliver, a police officer who appeared in the 4th season, his experience was completely different, his conscience causing him so much trauma that he couldn't return to work. As Alan admitted, he wouldn't be able to sleep at night thinking he arrested a petty criminal for possession of illegal narcotics, and sent them to a place like that. Not everyone had a bad experience, but as far as the cameras show, the settings seem real enough. But that's not stopping volunteers from lining up, nor the producers from filming. Regarding Nate Burrell's death, it should be stressed that Nate's suicide was unrelated to 60 Days In, but the circumstances surrounding his death aren't any less tragic. After Nate completed 2 seasons on the show, he continued his life, still hoping to join the police force. As Nate stated during his initial appearance in 60 Days In, the show would give him the opportunity to interact and get to know the kind of people he would likely encounter in the line of duty. Unfortunately, Nate didn't become an officer of the law. According to Burrell's LinkedIn profile, following his appearance, Nate worked in several jobs, all seemingly unrelated to criminal justice. Nonetheless, Burrell's life seemed relatively normal enough, as he also developed a romantic relationship and was expecting to become the father of a boy shortly before his death. Life seemed to be going well for Burrell in the wake of his experiences in 60 Days In. Then, in late 2020, Burrell's sister, Chelsea Walker, confirmed his death to the public, which came as quite a shock to fans of both the series and Burrell. According to his sister, Nate fatally shot himself in the downtown area of Allegan, Michigan, so taking his own life. As Chelsea stated, she considered her brother as someone who loved his country and his family, whom everyone knew as a kind and caring person. She did admit that Nate was in a dark place around the time of his passing, though assured the gossip outlets that it had nothing to do with his appearance in 60 Days In. In fact, Chelsea stated that Nate was very proud of his accomplishments in the show. Unfortunately, everything in Nate's life was not quite as rosy as people might consider. Despite his sister's account of his character, it came to light that in October earlier that year, Nate was charged with 5 counts of serious felonies, including sexual assault, assault with a deadly weapon, and assault with malicious intent. However, the victim remained anonymous, and the details concerning the investigation also remain obscure. Burrell was set to appear in court on November 9th but never made it, deciding to take his own life, leaving an emotional post on Facebook explaining his circumstances and what could be considered his last words. Nate wrote that it wasn't the confession people would be looking for, but reads as a heartfelt message to his family. His wife Jordan was mentioned in the note, which listed at length the grievances the couple experienced. However, Nate insistently expressed his wishes that no one blame each other, writing that he was simply tired. He also wrote a message to his then yet-to-be-born son, expressing his sorrow about not being there to watch him grow. Nate was laid to rest at the age of 33, a proud veteran and profound star from 60 Days In. If you or anyone you know is suffering from mental health problems, never be afraid to seek help. Please call any available hotlines or seek professional care. No one has to suffer alone. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on social media or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.